How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a fairly spicy mod for the Open Great League, and that is Glalie. Now, the only reason I built this thing is because I caught a rank 1 snow runt when I was farming for Froslass. I really just needed a better Froslass. My Froslass was like 15 attack and just really bad IVs. So I was catching all the snow runs, and I happened upon this rank 1 Glalie, and I was like, you know what? When you get the rank 1, you basically have to build it no matter what it is. So I built it, I used it, and I think you could probably pretty safely avoid building one yourself if you're looking to climb. If you're looking to have fun, by all means build it, but Froslass is just better all around. One nice thing about Glalie is it's slightly bulkier than Froslass, so it can take some hits a little bit better, but the flip side is it just doesn't hit quite as hard, and the Shadow Ball also doesn't get stab on it, which is very unfortunate. And also, really, if it had Powder Snow, it probably would be a lot better as well. So you're going to see it perform decently well. May surprise some of you because you really just don't see this thing at all. But yeah, Froslass is just better, and you're going to see that in these battles here, because basically all I do is I just use the Glalie as a safe swap to lure out the opponent's best ice response and try to get myself a shield advantage, and then I put it all on Froslass to sweep in the end game. So let's jump right into these battles, and let's see if Glalie can pull anything off for us in the Open Great League. So getting right into the first battle here, and we are running Glalie as well, which is mildly spicy as well, and we're met with a Shadow Lapras, which is probably one of the worst things that Glalie could face. And this Shadow Lapras is actually staying in, which is something at the least. That means hopefully our Glalie won't have to face this in the endgame. So what I decided to do here is build up to CMP and throw the Shadow Ball. And I'm really hoping I can get a shield from this Lapras. This Shadow Ball wouldn't KO, but the opponent does shield, and that's perfect. So now, this is basically what we do with the Glalie in this video. We just sack it. There's no way I'm going to commit a shield on this thing, and I get a shield advantage for my Froslass, and that's basically all I can ask for. So gonna bring the Froslass in, and still the opponent is staying in, so this tells me they must be extremely weak to ice on the back, so I will definitely be shielding in this matchup, and we're gonna just be going straight for the Shadow Balls here. An Avalanche bait would just be way too risky, so gonna go for the Shadow Ball. I don't think this will quite KO, but the opponent is actually willing to commit their second shield, so now we're definitely going to be double shielding the Froslass here because we do have a shield advantage, and clearly the opponent does not want to see our Froslass, and they have a Trevenant in the back. So I farm up as much as I can. I throw the Avalanche. We're going to be one-shotting the Trevenant. What's going to come in the back here? I'm imagining they're probably not going to bring back in the Lapras. And it's a Shadow Golbat, so their entire team does not want to see Froslass. And here, I catch the Poison Fang onto my Glalie. At this point, I know they're still switch locked in, and I have to get some sort of utility out of the Glalie because the Shadow Lapras would just absolutely shred this thing. So I bring it in here. I throw the Night Slash because I know I need that energy on the Froslass to KO the Lapras. So the opponent's going to be forced to Shadow Ball here, or I probably could farm down. And they do Shadow Ball. And now, I was going to come in and farm down the Golbat, but they switched back into the Lapras, and I really need this to KO. I'm actually at 100 energy here, but it doesn't KO, and I know that I'm not going to be able to double resisted Powder Snow down. So I throw the Avalanche, and this is going to now be a fast move race. Can we farm it down? And on like 2 HP, we farm down the Golbat. And GG in game 1 there. Very tough lead for us, but Glalie got us a shield advantage there in the mid game, and really, that's all we needed it for. So, second game here, another not great lead for Glalie. Knockdown just out-bulks it. So, again, we bring in the Glalie, and here, the opponent has no idea what typing we are. He actually Shadow Balls us, probably thinking that we were part Ghost type, and now the Azu comes in, and I actually throw the Shadow Ball again on the CMP to a potential Ice Beam to prevent the opponent from farming us down. And as you see, non-stabbed Shadow Ball just does not hit hard. When you're expecting, you know, that stab damage from the Froslass, you expect more damage, but that just really didn't do much. But we actually survived our rank 1 IVs, let us survive that Ice Beam on 1 HP, and that allows us to get to an Avalanche. So we actually have gotten this Azu fairly low, but unfortunately, as you see, Glalie was not able to get us a shield advantage there, which is pretty unfortunate. So here, I farm up to a potential play rough, and I throw on CMP again. And does the opponent respect our move? And they don't. So we just straight up take out the Azu, but unfortunately the opponent has a Sableye in the back. And yeah, this is not looking too good because they have our Froslass countered here. And Gliscor, I do catch the foul play here, but Gliscor just does not have a great knockdown matchup. So this is looking to be a pretty tough match. We do call the foul play, but they're just going to come in here, and now we're basically in Sky Attack range. And as you're going to see, these Night Slashes, non-stab, just don't hit very hard on the knockdown. It looks like we're probably going to need 2 more. And that Sableye did bank a foul play, so I kind of can't shield this. So I'm thinking my only chance here is to come down and potentially leave with 2 moves. But as you see, my health is just going to be too low, and that Sableye can probably just come in and do like 2 Shadow Claws and KOS. So my only chance at this point is for the opponent to think that I'm at the back-to-back moves and call an Avalanche. So I'm going to full send the Shadow Ball here. Does he shield? He lets it go, but the Shadow Ball doesn't KO, and we lose a Heartbreaker there. So very close game there, but unfortunately, as you see there, Glalie not able to get us a shield advantage, and Froslass with even shield not able to get the sweep. So Bastiodon lead here, and this is the kind of unique thing about Gliscor. Despite being a flying type, it actually beats the steel types, and the opponent brings in a Lurantis. So I'm a little slow on the switch here, but here is where you're going to see Glalie's true bulk here compared to Froslass. We tank the super effective superpower on the CMP tie, and now the opponent's going to be forced to shield, and yeah, they just let it go down. So we actually took a superpower pretty well there, which I honestly at the time was not sure if we were going to live that. So very nicely done there by Glalie, and now we do have a lot of energy. We're not baiting, and they do shield. So we're going to match shields here. Again, you could say I should have baited there, but this is just such a risky bait. Night Slash would just do absolutely nothing. So again, I'm going to be just going straight for this Earthquake here. Does the opponent shield? And they actually do double shield, and we absolutely have to match shields here because our Froslass cannot see this Bastiodon. It would get absolutely destroyed. So we are going to be banking the Earthquake here and then bringing in our Froslass to the Medicham, and this should be a GG. All we have to do here is just Shadow Ball the Medicham, and they're not even running, either they're running Ice Punch and Power Up Punch, or they're just baiting, I don't know, but yeah, we don't have any shields, and they're going straight Power Up Punch. So again, early ranks, but we're just going to Shadow Ball this thing after we build up to 100 energy, and we're basically going to win this game because we have the EQ banked, and EQ on a Bastiodon from a Gliscor does so much damage. From full health, I don't think it quite KOs from full health, but as you see, we've chipped this thing enough, and we're now getting to the Shadow Ball. So if it wasn't an Earthquake range before, it definitely is now, and we will easily be winning the CMP tie here, and they weren't even out of move, doesn't look like. So GG's there. We had good alignment, but again, Glalie there, able to win that mid-game matchup without committing a shield, so we'll take that for sure. And we're going to be moving right into the next battle here, into a Pelipper, so another very tricky matchup. Obviously, the Weather Balls are going to be super effective, so I tried to catch one there. The opponent actually does overfarm, but he does not build up to a Hurricane here, so I do not have to shield this. So going to let that go, and the opponent is actually countering our Glalie with a Swampert, probably thinking that he knows he can take an Avalanche, and he probably thinks this Hydro Cannon will KO. But what you're going to see is, again, Glalie has a respectable amount of bulk to it, because as you see, from just above half health, the Hydro Cannon doesn't KO, and we're not even in Mudshot down range. So I was actually, again, first time I've ever used this thing, I was pretty impressed in live time at its bulk, and we actually are able to flip switch there against a Swampert. So Pelipper is going to come back in and get a farm down, and here, this is still a little tricky, so I'm going to have to call a bait here to have a chance at winning this game, and we do call the Weather Ball, and even better, the opponent over farms, and now he's going to be forced to shield if he wants to keep this alive, and he does shield. So now I think our Froslass may just be able to pull out some shenanigans here, because again, I know I'm not in Weather Ball range, and I did bank a Night Slash before switching out in the original matchup there against the Pelipper. So I throw the Night Slash, and we actually KO, and we still have some health on our Froslass, and now 2-to-1 shields. Gliscor is going to absolutely smack down this Medicham. So I think my loose con here would be to bait with a Night Slash, so I'm not going to be baiting here. I'm going to farm up and just go straight for the EQ, knowing I can get to 2 with 2 shields. Does he respect it? And no, we nearly one-shot the Medi, and Gliscor farms down for the win. So again, Glalie there in the mid game was able to take out that Swampert and get a switch advantage. So again, not terrible really. If you're thinking, should you build one? Again, I don't know for sure, but it definitely does have some play. And as you see, we stay switching again after being met with the Dragonair, and the opponent comes in with a Medi, and again, we're an Ice type, so obviously they're going to be like maintaining switch here, but we were able to get a shield from the Medicham, so we will absolutely take that, and we do get the Medicham fairly low as well. So going to be bringing in the Froslass here. They already showed us that they had Ice Punch, so if we bring in the Gliscor, basically we're going to be forced to shield multiple times. So I bring in the Frost. I should probably have shielded this. I called the bait. He does go for the Psychic, but I think we're still going to be okay here because these counters are resisted. So I throw the Avalanche on the CMP tie here. This should be Avalanche range now. And now we have a 2-shield Froslass and a 2-shield Gliscor versus the world. And the opponent's last mon is a Bastiodon. So now we're going to need Gliscor to put in a lot of work here. So I do shield the Stone Edge, but he's staying in and letting us get a big energy lead here. And the question is going to be, when he brings back in that Dragonair, is he going to respect the EQ, or is he going to call the Night Slash bait? And he does not respect it, and we one-shot the Dragonair. And now Bastiodon's coming back in. But the nice thing is, again, we're a flying type, but we're also a ground type, so we resist the smackdowns, and we one-shot the Bastiodon. He tries to call the move, but I knew that I could get to 2 EQs there. So again, Night Slashing would have been my loose con, and the opponent gets nuked by a Gliscor. So GG to the opponent, and we're moving into a knockdown lead. We bring in the Glalie as a safe switch, and the opponent meets our Glalie with a Trevenant, probably thinking we're part Ghost type, but we are not. We call the Seed Bomb, and now this Trevenant is realizing he's made a terrible mistake. I actually do undercharge, thinking maybe I could get one more Ice Shard, and he actually just lets it go, and it's still KO'd. So the opponent there definitely thinking we were a Froslass when they brought that Trevenant in, and they have a Registeel on the back, and we now have flipped switch advantage, and we've gotten this Registeel below half health. So this Registeel is now in Earthquake range, so we can simply just align our Gliscor to this Reggie here and align our Froslass on the knockdown. So they bring back in the knockdown. I actually will stay in here and take the Sky Attack just because I didn't want to come in with the Frost with that big of an energy lead, because that knockdown has Shadow Ball. So I bring in the Froslass now, and with even energy, we will outpace to another Shadow Ball. And now the opponent has a decision to make. Do they want to just let this go down? And they do. And now they have a half-health Reggie. We have 2 shields, and the opponent knows it's over and concedes the match. So GG there. But again, that time Glalie actually put in a ton of work there to get a switch advantage. So Lantern lead here, not the best situation. We do have EQ, obviously, but as you're about to see, Surf actually does a ton of damage. Gliscor, especially my Gliscor, it's not the best IVs, not super tanky. As you see, that Surf does way over half. And I do throw the Earthquake to the CMP tie of the second Surf here. Do they respect it? And we one-shot the Lantern. He tried to call the bait, but we were not baiting. They pivot into the knockdown, and we're going to bring in the Glalie here. And we did bank a Night Slash as well. And the opponent is actually going to stay in and throw a Sky Attack here. So this is giving me hope that they may be weak in the back to Ice. And if they're weak in the back to Ice, Froslass is going to go on an absolute rampage here. So we throw the Avalanche, and they shield it. And now, again, Glalie has done its job. Glalie has gotten us a shield advantage and done some chip damage. And now we're going to save both shields for Froslass here. And we'll have to see what they have in the back if they are still staying into our Froslass here. Whatever they have in the back does not want to see Ice. We're going to shield this up. Probably going to be a bait. And they actually full send the Shadow Ball, so that's huge. And since they did that, I can overfarm quite a bit. And I throw the Avalanche on the CMP tie to their next move. And they let it go down. What's in the back? It's a Trevenant, and they are core broken by our Ice types here. So we can easily just get this off, get their last shield, and then we will shield up whatever they throw, and we will Avalanche this Trevenant for the win. So with that big of an energy lead there, Froslass is just an absolute monster. As you guys have seen, I'm sure Froslass with an energy lead can beat most things. So Altaria lead in the next battle. not great for our Gliscor. We get outbulked. So we do bring in the Glalie, and the opponent is staying in. They let us do so much Ice Shard damage, and then once again they bring in a Swampert. So they just have no idea what to do up against this Glalie, and Avalanche hits very hard, so they actually do respect it. And again, what you're going to see is Swamperts are underestimating the bulk of our Glalie here, and we actually tank that, and we're still not in farm down range. So we're going to get another Avalanche, and Avalanche, as you see, does so much damage, and this is going to force them to throw again. So what I'm recognizing here is if their best response to an Ice type is a Swampert, they must be very, very weak to our Froslass. So I will actually bring in the Froslass here and farm down, and we'll have to see what they have in the back. And what are they going to bring in? They actually bring back in the Altaria, so what in the world is in the back that does not want to see this Froslass? And they're going to get a shield from us, but we could probably just farm them down if they stay in. And they have a Venusaur in the back, so they are double weak to Ice. And what you're going to see me do here is just make a savage catch. I probably didn't even need to do that to win this game, but I figured, you know what, let's get some utility out of the Gliscor. We catch the Frenzy on the Gliscor here, and we're going to throw the Night Slash just before they get to another Frenzy. And at this point, all I'm going to do here is just save my shield for the Froslass. So we're going to let this go down. We're going to farm down this Venusaur with the Froslass, and then the poor Altaria is going to be helpless in the back. And that is going to be a G to the G. And opponent, really no disrespect, but if you're running an Altaria lead, you probably shouldn't have something else in the back that's weak to Ice. Because, yeah, their team just got swept by a Glalie and a Froslass. So, next battle here, we have a Galvantula lead. And despite us being a flying type, this is actually a pretty nice lead for us because we do outpace. And we are actually single resisting all the moves that Galvantula can throw. And they do shield the first, and we get the boost. So now, even though they're going to debuff us here with a lunge, we are going to probably KO them with another Night Slash here since we're boosted. We are only single boosted since we got one stage debuff, but a single boosted Night Slash still KOs the Galvantula. And we get another boost, and they have a Politoed in the back. And this is now a triple boosted Night Slash. And it gets the Politoed below half health, and now we bring in the Glalie, and they bring in a Shadow Vic to our Glalie. Oh my goodness, this opponent in absolute shambles right now, as Jamie Finn would say, and they just let the Vic go down, and now the opponent has a very low Politoed versus a very healthy Galade, or a very healthy Glalie, a full health Froslass, and what's ever left of my Gliscor. So yeah, this is a GG, and the opponent there does full send the Earthquake, but as you see, Glalie tanked that Earthquake very well. We bring in the Gliscor just to force their energy, and now 2 Shield Froslass is going to clean this game up. And I actually think, I think I might even 2 Shield Flex in this battle, so props to the opponent there for staying in and playing this out. If it was me, honestly, I would have been out of there as soon as that Night Slash went off. As soon as I saw the Glalie, knowing I had a Vic in the back, I probably would have top lefted there. But as you see, we actually 2 Shield Flex there, so GG to the opponent. Not much he could do there. Our backline really did well against his, and Sableye lead here, kind of tricky. But what I've noticed is that a lot of Gliscors like to bait, so a lot of opponents like to call Night Slash baits, and the Sableye calls the bait, and Earthquake just straight up one-shots it, and we pivot into our Glalie, and they respond with Medicham, and this is perfect because we've lured out the Medicham, so our Froslass can now take care of this Medicham. And the Alolan Sandslash, if you notice there, was actually running Powder Snow, which is going to make the Froslass matchup very, very good. And they call the bait, and Shadow Ball nearly one-shots the Medi, and they're forced to throw energy. And now Froslass can just come in here and farm down. And this, if this was a Shadow Claw Alolan Sandslash, this probably would actually be a loss. But since they're running Powder Snow, unless they're crazy and they're running Gyro Ball, which I think I actually do respect just in case, but yeah, it is just a Bulldoze. One Bulldoze is not going to put us in a range where they're going to be able to farm down. So at this point, my loose con would be to have them call an Avalanche bait. So I'm just going straight for the Shadow Ball here, and they let it go. And now we actually are going to catch the Bulldoze onto our Gliscor just for a little bit of BMing. We really didn't need to do that, but we do it anyway, and honestly, there was no reason for me to throw that move, because at this point, fast moves are all we need to take this thing out, but I throw it anyway. He shields, and now we're just going to farm down, and I could even survive this bulldoze. Do I just call it? Yeah, I know I can survive a bulldoze, so I just let it go, and he baited anyway, so GG there. I think if he was running Shadow Claw, we may actually have lost. He may have been able to 2-shield his Alolan Sandslash there and just Shadow Claw us down, but GG. Another knockdown in the next battle here. Again, we bring in the Glalie, and the opponent meets our Glalie with a Skarmory. And again, not the best answer to Glalie here. Glalie just does not care about these flying types whatsoever. So we actually get a shield right away. And now, unless the opponent wants to Brave Bird us here, we're not in Sky Attack range. Whereas if we were a Froslass, Sky Attack probably would nearly take us out, maybe 1 or 2 more Air Slashes. But as you're going to see, we get a shield, we land an Avalanche, and we're not even in farm down range, so the opponent is forced to throw another Sky Attack. So again, effectively Glalie, or I keep saying Glalie has gotten us a shield advantage, and it's done a lot of damage to the Skarmory, which allows our Froslass to come in and farm down, and the opponent brings the Noctowl back into the Froslass. So what in the world do they have in the back if they're bringing the Noctowl back into the Froslass? And they actually just let that go as well, so I make a savage catch. I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna not respect my Avalanche, I'm not gonna respect your Sky Attack. So I catch on the Gliscor, and the opponent has a Trevenant in the back. So that explains why they brought in the Noctowl. And once again, this opponent's team is just completely core broken by ice. So really, what you guys are probably gonna take away from this video is that Froslass is just very, very good. I did actually make a Froslass video last season, and I'm actually going to make a savage 2-shield flex on this opponent. We actually, with 2 shields, called the Seed Bomb on the Trevenant, and we farmed down. Was that the last battle? That actually was the last battle, so what a savage 2-shield flex on that opponent. But what I was getting ready to say is, what you're probably going to take away from this video is that really ice types like Froslass are very, very strong in this current meta, because a lot of Noctowls and Trevenants, and they can actually put in a decent amount of work against the Lanturns and the water types as well. So I hope you guys did enjoy this. Again, I did actually speed these up a little bit more, so let me know in the comments. You know, I'm just trying to figure out the right length for these videos. Honestly, some of my older videos literally bore me when I go back to rewatch them, because most people don't have time to sit down for like 25 to 30 minutes to watch a video. So we'll see how long this one ends up being, but I'd like to try to keep them around 20 minutes, maybe a little less. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing Glalie. A little spicy on your, what night is it? Saturday night. And yeah, again guys, thank you for watching, and remember, if you're not subscribed, consider doing so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.